So first of all, hello Ray. Thank you for being in this conversation with me, Bwiti Conversations. I'm Coco. I'm an organizer with Bwiti Calling, and I'm really happy to talk to you, Ray, because you came for initiation last year. You did too, in fact. Do you want to start just by sharing a little bit about you? You're an artist. This is your studio. You live in the UK. What else would you like us to know, so we can know a bit more about who is Ray G. Brown?
I mean, those are all the main points. Yes, artist, born and bred, and still in London. And yeah, and there's a big strain of the kind of the visceral and the mystic in my work, and a bit of like industrial and design elements as well. But that's a big animated quality in the work, is this connection to archetypal, unknown, mysterious, untranslatable things. So it's a relevant point to make to help understand how I ended up in like Gabon doing weird shit for weird, uncomfortable shit for 2 weeks straight. It all makes sense in the context of well, so the artworks is what's in me that I'm always working on bringing out. And yeah, that whatever this stuff is in me, it's a similar kind of thing I was connecting to in my time from the initiations. I
Hmm.
think, who knows, but it feels related.
Mm-hmm. So your artwork is something that's like you feel yourself like reaching deeply into your subconscious, touching something there, and then dragging it back, whether or not you know what it is
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, dragging. It feels like I'm digging down so far into my own unconscious that it's sort of like puncturing through to some collective stuff. It's a lot of like very archetypal, um, bizarre forms that like I don't really know where they come from. They kind of surprise me as well. Like it's often stuff that it isn't like, oh, okay, no, that makes sense. That reminds me of something I went through or something, some memory or experience I had. A lot of the time, it's sort of just like apparently that was in there, and I was a conduit for it. So that's
Hmm.
kind of my role, is to be plumbing this stuff and distilling it into materials.
We live 95% of our lives actually with the unconscious running our lives, and 5% of our conscious mind is thinks it's running our lives. But there's so much material there that's actually going on and expressing itself. And in the initiation, it's like it's helping you to make conscious contact with some of that material. And especially
Mm,
the material that's actually necessary for you to take whatever next step you need to in your life, or to understand what is the sticking point between you and your mom, or whoever it is, like whatever it is in your life that's like an obstacle at the moment. So it's like the stuff that the conscious mind just like can't figure out, and then this initiation helps to contact that stuff.
mm.
Can you say a little bit about yeah, like you don't have to share the personal details necessarily, but like, yeah, because you came in with questions, right? It's not like you just came for an experience or solely just to like, for inspiration for your art, though you knew that that would happen. But there were like some like personal things that you were coming for, and the initiation met those. Can you share a little bit about what that process was like?
Yeah, um, yeah. It's sort of out of like not quite desperation, but just really really determined commitment to gaining more empowerment over the really fucked up parts of myself that have been causing me to have often a very miserable experience for most of my life. This is the reason that I got into doing any kind of self work on myself. It's never been it wasn't ever initially out of some just curiosity about
Mm-hmm.
the otherworldly and the mystery. I was like a super, just super kind of like rational, you just wanted to live a normal life. But just out of having this hard pressure of like of really tangled, distorted, choking stifling mental patterns that would just be so sticky and so impossible to escape, no matter how much I tried doing more normal stuff like therapy or CBT or whatever. Like this, eventually became apparent that the more like non-traditional, like non-Western Enlightenment canonical methods of accessing parts of yourself. These are the things that did much more for me than any doctor stuff. I didn't want to go on medication too, so against like quite a hard boundary against wanting to do that, and then opened up into all this other stuff. And then the coming to Gabon and doing the Bwiti ceremony was sort of like the last step in an increasingly intense, strange path that I'd been on. That like each unconventional thing that I did would unlock something that led to the next step. And it was definitely progress happening, but still this like stubborn stuff that I wasn't quite free of. So it's kind of like, I think that's what it would take me to go do something as sort of like quite intimidating and quite unknowable, requiring a lot of trust and kind of like courage and fortitude. That's what was bringing me there. So like you said, I was coming not a kind of, "Ooh, please show me the mystic realms." It was it's very clear, the very sharp intentions that like, this is what plays me, this is the nature of it, what like help me help me get more empowerment in myself over it. I understood that it couldn't just be, and I know by now that there is no one thing you can do that just like magically makes your pain vanish.
Yeah,
I learned that. Yeah. You have to fantasize about that early on in the journey, I think. But gradually understanding it's all about how to be kind of mobilizing or clearing up, engineering myself in a better relationship to myself. So I knew that my approach coming in was like, please help signpost me or show me or better resource me to be doing this crucial final steps that I need in myself to be free from torment.
Yeah, so it's like it wasn't just a entertainment or something else for your spiritual CV to add to, like, yeah, I did iboga in Gabon. You were like, and yeah, like serious, and even like you said, like a kind of a desperation that like, I need this help. If this is going to help me, then I will do it. I will go to Gabon. I will do what it takes. I will be in the room for a week. I will do what you tell me, and I will eat the medicine. And if it's going to help me, then yes. But it was, so I can hear that there was like a, yeah, like a will and a need for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And well, and to some extent, the artist in me was kind of captivated in a secondary way about just like, what is this and what are they doing, and it's like so little is known about this stuff in the Western world, that it's just like, what is this like spiritual technology that these guys have been quietly doing for
For
thousands of
thousands of
years? Like,
years. Yeah.
well, what is their way of accessing their area of the spiritual terrain? That it's a bit like kind of going to, well, it is going to a foreign country and seeing all the different ways that things are done just on the surface level of how Gabon is. But then it's like also the intrigue of like, well, what is the foreign country of where they are going? And
Yeah.
it's so part of the just the curiosity at things which are strange and unknown was also part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, people talk about Gabon as the Tibet of Africa. It's like, it's not just a country, because Africa is full of rituals. Africa is full of spiritual tradition and incredible wisdom, where you can do a lot of spiritual work and get like good movement in the direction that you need. But there's something special about Gabon, especially because they have that wisdom, that technology, the spiritual technology of their rituals and of the earth that's there and their bodies. And they've been doing this for so long. It's like, yeah, they've been building on this technology for a long time. And they have Iboga. So it's like technology on technology on technology on technology all together in some kind of like nuclear reactor, and then what happens for you and like where you're trying to go. So yeah, of all the places you could go, it's like, yeah, you went to the Tibet of Africa.
And it completely goes in the face of all the unconscious indoctrination you have growing up in the West about ideas of what like equatorial African countries are like. You know, the sort of established, you know, post-colonial kind of idea of it is that, you know, they're have less technology, they're backwards, you know,
Right.
they're less up to speed and to everything that we've achieved in the West. But it's like it's like you're going into the rainforest, and it's like, and they have a spaceship there, basically, is what it's like. The what would be written off as like the most primitive people, as the pygmies were understood historically.
Yeah.
So no, actually, they've got like the most sophisticated access to, you know, the other realms that exist. So it's all like having your preconceived notions turned on your head is always a healthy, intriguing thing too.
Yeah. I find it fascinating actually because some of the materials that they use, it's, you know, like it's things from the forest. It's like things that you could walk through the forest yourself and pick up, like just on a nature walk. It's also things that are just seem so ordinary, like really ordinary objects, but it's how they're used and it's how they're mobilized that starts to make it into a ritual. But that's what creates the spaceship.
Mm,
And so when you look at it, if you look at it with just like regular Western logical, scientific, rational eyes, you're like, yeah, it's a room. It's a pretty plain, simple, rustic room, actually, from the outside anyway. And but when you walk inside, it's like the way that I describe it, especially in the Mbumba Iyano initiation, and each of the rooms have got like a kind of thematic that goes with them. But the Mbumba Iyano, this is a room that is tuned to the frequency of your higher self. So just like you can tune a radio and get the frequency of, you know, 95.2 FM and listen to like, you know, rock from the
mm,
60s. This is a room that you can tune, that's been tuned to, for you to hear your higher self more clearly. And this is, but it just looks like a room. And then when you're with the sacred wood as well, and of course you're in this room for many days, and so you're starting to be in contact with your higher self in a different way. And then you eat the sacred wood at a certain point, and then that's like a whole other level of hearing and feeling yourself. And yeah, and from the outside it can look just very simple and ordinary and like nothing much, but actually it's like the sophisticated science is
mm.
actually just using these really ordinary implements, elements. Yeah. And I
Yes.
remember you were talking about this as well. Like you were like, "What is this stuff?" Like it's just so surprising because sometimes like the colors and the costumes and the smells and like there's a lot there. You're just like, "Wow."
And they don't explain anything. They don't speak English. A lot of the Nemas and their assistants. So it's just all
Yeah.
completely. And they don't like announce anything or expect. Just things just start happening. There's just a pile of purple umbrellas here and like talcum powder all over. Like, it's all just like
Yeah.
it's like you're in like some surreal dream the whole time, which is
Yeah.
like kind of great.
Yeah, I think there is something in that as well because you are traveling to another dimension. You're here, but you're inside another dimension. And so I think there's also something about the unfamiliarity to your conscious mind that's like, whoa, I am somewhere else right now. Like things are not operating. It's like being in an Alice in Wonderland. Like you're
Mm,
suddenly you went through the rabbit hole and you're like, oh my God, they're painting roses. What is this?
yeah,
But there's
yeah,
something
yeah.
that like lets you know, like, yeah, we're using ordinary implements, but we're not in an ordinary reality right now. We're somewhere else.
No, very, very like kitsch and surreal.
Yeah.
If you were to
Yeah.
sum up the aesthetics, it's just kind of almost tacky if it weren't so sincere, which makes it even weirder. Like,
Yeah, it's so it just like nothing like the mind can't, it's so hard for the mind to latch on to something because it might have a
mm,
judgment about the kitschiness and the tackiness or something, but then it's like, but it can feel the vibration of it, which is like, this is purity. And so it just scrambles the conscious kind of patterns and to go somewhere else.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
why my mind really hated that to begin with. I'm very mind heavy, and this has been one of my problems. And this is why mine really hated, and the discomfort of all this unknown and all this
Mm.
sort of like challenging, uncomfortable environments and all this uncertainty and weirdness. I really hated it at first. It was like really agonizing for me. But I came to understand that, like, which is quite a good thing to just understand in general, like the leverage of discomfort, or like the power of discomfort as a leverage to opening up and growing in a different way. It felt like
Mm.
that, you know, that first week before the ceremony, when just there on my own with my thoughts and like, you know, the cockroaches and the kind of weird, you know, the clammy environment, everything. It was just like it's like plowing open my mind. It's like overturn. There's nothing for my mind to kind of be familiar or comfortable with, and then therefore be complacent and just in its old
Mm.
set patterns. Like everything was jarring. So it was like being overturned and mulched. Yeah, like a plow kind of like folding over the soil. That I think a very necessary step, because then by the time it actually in the ceremony, I was kind of like opened up by all this discomfort and ready to be taken somewhere that I perhaps would be too mentally resistant to otherwise, and then I perhaps wouldn't be able to go there.
Mm. So kind of like in a loving way, kind of like broke down the barriers or like the things that the ego can kind of like hold on to, like the
Mm,
comforts and the familiarity and the like, no, no, but this is good and this is how we do things. And now suddenly that's not there. So then the space is new. It's like the new neural pathways and the
yeah,
space for the new.
yeah, like what you do in therapy or whatever, you know, you're just making new neural pathways. But this is like really just, it's like, I always think of it, it's kind of like the nuclear option doing this. It's just like the most intensive, thorough, uncompromising way to really, it's like if you're really serious about getting to something or getting something done, this is the, not always pleasant, but like really, you know, here we go. Like the hardcore way of really getting there quite
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was the same for me. Like, I wasn't doing initiation because I thought it would be cool. I did it because I really needed it. And I needed help to get to the places in my psyche and my spirit that so far the therapy, the retreats, the time in nature, at a certain time medication, it just wasn't touching. Like I knew that there was something there, but it just like wasn't touching it. And so this is yeah, it's really, really strong technology to be able to go to those levels. And also not to go to them alone either. Like you're there held inside a room, which is a bit like a womb and a tomb. So that's another thing. Like you're not just like alone in your room or something like this. It's like it's a very specific kind of like surgery theater nearly. And then there's also
Mm.
the Nima who comes to you every day or thereabouts. There's the assistants that are there. I'm there, of course, also to check in.
Yeah,
And
thank God you were there too.
yeah, so it's just like, yeah, there's like a lot of work that's going on and you're supported in the process. Plus, there's the unseen realm who's there with you. And because you're also in this room that's tuned to the frequency of your higher self, it's like you can hear that even more distinctly. So tell us a little bit about yeah, I don't know if there were some themes or what you noticed about like how did the downloads arrive? Like, did they, yeah, how did that arrive for you?
In the ceremony.
Yeah, or the process, like from the beginning to the end. So you said that at the beginning you were in a lot of resistance, and then there was a point where you started to just kind of like accept and soften and open.
Mm.
And then what happened? Like, what else was happening with it? You started to go, ah, now I see something.
Um, well, there were the things that were literally being shown in like the images of the ceremony of the like, you know,
You mean like
lying
once you
there
took
and
the sacred wood, then you
yeah,
started
yeah.
to see things. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And like all the kind of intensity and like bitterness and discomfort of all of that, and kind of kind of like the sort of like quite heartfelt feeling, all these people around like singing and carrying you through it, but also kind of like terrifying as well, and just so vulnerable by that point of
Mm-hmm.
really just like like fully surrendering to this thing unfolding. Um, so yeah, in there, just there was the literal images that I was shown. These like kind of cryptic sculptural ways of communicating some truth that like wouldn't have the same resonance if it was just told literally in words.
Mm-hmm.
The best example of that I can remember, like there was so much at the time, I can't necessarily remember all of it, but there was one like showing me like like as if it's a scientific diagram is what it was like it's kind of showing me the relationship between what I think and what I say and the intention and energy behind what I think and say, and how that has an immediate effect on my surrounding physical environment
Hmm.
and other people and every, you know, just rippling out like this, and then also then having an effect back on me because it's bouncing back or reverberating, but you know, like how much I'm creating the conditions of my own environment around me. So it's showing me how like times where I could be being kind of like not the best intention with my speech, you know, saying something kind of like irreverent or undermining, or you know, for whatever reason, something that's a little bit, you know, not having integrity. It would show me like as if it's, you know, a page in a textbook showing how these things work. It would show me saying the thing and then it kind of like rotting the air around me, like
Mm.
kind of like crinkling and slumping, decomposing down into sludge the area around me, and then that would kind of like be at my feet and kind of like soaking back up into me, and then contributing back to what was in my mind and what the
Mm.
quality of what is in me. So,
Yeah.
so it's just it, you know, with I'm familiar with that concept, you know, that like what is in you is affecting what is outside of you.
Yeah.
It's quite a common thing among spiritual traditions to understand this. So I knew this intellectually, but this was sort of like, oh whoa, and that's actually what it looks like, and there's actually just like pollution being generated by me here, and I can't like unsee that now. It's almost like there's no excuse now. It's like, like you saw it. You
Yeah.
can't pretend like you don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, quite like sort of yeah, humbling and quite confrontational. But I don't really mind about being confronted. You know, I'm quite past that. I'm about results by this point. So I'm happy to be shown like something shit that I'm doing if it's like illuminating.
Yeah. I love that. I'm about results, so just give it to me. Like
Yeah, yeah,
whatever I
yeah.
need to see. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And in your write-up that you wrote after the initiation, you wrote something about like sometimes it shows you the things you don't want to see, but it's things you need to see. like, because it can be so brutal in a way, or so uncomfortable to be like, oh my God, like to watch myself polluting the air. It's so uncomfortable, but actually it's a gift.
And it was just said in such a deadpan way. It's just so like matter of fact. It's like these are the laws of physics on a 5D realm, like being shown to you. Like just saying, okay, so when you say this for this reason, when you be really difficult or like nasty or whatever, this is what happens. And why do you do that? For like, is there any reason why you do these shit things other than like you just want to do it and you'll stubbornly kind of want to be like that? Is
Mm.
that a good reason? Like, because it also has this effect. Like, just saying, you know,
Just
it's just
saying.
yeah, it's just saying this. And when you see it laid out with this kind of just really blunt, you know, matter of fact logic. I'm like, okay, well, obviously that's really stupid that I do that. You know, it's just like, okay, fine. Yeah, it's not really a good reason. It's not really worth it just to be stubborn, to also be like rotting myself and
Yeah.
contributing to my own state and then complaining about it. And, you know, it's like, okay. So, but
Mm.
it didn't feel like an agenda being pushed. It was just like, here's what's going on.
Yeah, and it's up to
And
you
now you
now.
know.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think that's sometimes the thing. It's like we get into these unconscious patterns and we don't realize the impact that it's having. And then the impact's actually poisoning us. And then we get sad about the poison and we're like, why am I so sick? And then not
Mm.
realizing that, and then it's like, I wish that like the president could just not do what he's doing and then I wouldn't be sick. Or, you know, like I just wish that the wars would stop and then I would feel better or whatever. But it's like actually what the medicine shows and what the initiation shows is how I'm contributing to my own poisoning, or I'm contributing that I'm actually much more powerful than I think. And yeah, and I like what you're saying as well about you can't unsee it, because also you're seeing it, I think, from a different place. Like you already knew this stuff. Your conscious mind, the 5% conscious mind, already knew about this, but somewhere deeper needed to see it and really
Mm.
feel it and know it. And what the medicine does is it helps you to see it from like a deeper place, from like a soul level place. So then you can not just like think this
Mm.
truth, but actually like know it. And then your life can live that truth as well. So I think this is also one of the
Yeah,
things that I think is like a huge gift.
yeah. Your higher self, your Mumbayana, right? This that was another part, just them showing me in this really kitsch way. Of course, this like this is the best version of you. This very almost like watching some tacky movie of me being just like so like inspiring and at ease and charming, and just me on like the best day ever all the time was just, you know, I was just seeing this kind of celebrity version of myself and like and just kind of like understanding like this is the actual you know, this is who you could
Right.
really be if you weren't having to live like a human existence with all this other stuff. But like that's, you know, it's a good like reference point to be like, you know, the real you is like only full of like kindness and benevolence and love and confidence and all these things. It's just a good to be reminded of that.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
It's, you can't obviously be like that all the time, but it's this, yeah, this reference point.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is the one of the deepest questions in any spiritual path, which is who am I? And the ego will be like, well, I know who I am. I'm Ray, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm Coco, and blah, 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 and I can tell you all the things, and I'm smart, or I'm not, or I'm rich, or I'm not, or I'm, you know, the ego will say many things about who I am. But then the real question is like, where is the deepest me? And maybe even the me that was here before I was born, and the me that will be here after I die. And this is also like the me that we meet in the initiation. Not, and so not to
Yeah.
be, and you know, like Vipassana has put so much about this. It's like, don't get stuck on the thinking me, the 5% conscious um, idea of me, because the one who speaks in my voice most loudly, it's like it's my ego. And there's nothing wrong with the ego. It's just the problem is when I think that it's me and I live my life from that versus like being with those parts and then actually having my foundation from a deeper foundation inside of myself.
Like, yeah, reorientating yourself to who you understand yourself to really be.
Yeah.
Like with your IFS as well, the same. But well, like in a lot of these sort of techniques, it's yeah, reorienting to that, that wise, patient, benevolent, all of these qualities. That part of you be in charge, and not all the clamoring, screaming, sniping,
Yeah.
stressed out, damaged child parts. Like not them. Like they're all there, but you're not them. You're the one who's just hearing them and managing them and comforting them, whatever. But like your intrinsic qualities are actually these pretty good ones.
Yeah. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
the best ones.
Yeah, actually. Yeah. And this is the yeah, the remembering, which of course is an infinite journey of remembering, you know. But I think particularly in the Western world and in contemporary life, it's so easy to just be totally disconnected from that. And I think sometimes we need like a super solid, intense, like kick up the ass to reconnect with ourselves like this. And often it is because we have something that's poisoning us, usually from the inside, that and we don't know how to like change the dial on that, like turn the tap off the poison. And we're like, fuck, like the therapy's not like the therapy's okay, but it's not like touching it really. The medication's not doing it for me. Instagram's not doing it for me. You know, the books are good, but they're not doing it. So it's like sometimes we need this, yeah, intense and direct line in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me a bit about because it's interesting. I remember when I first heard about initiation, and even the word, I was like, it's not that it felt like jargon, but it just felt like, what the hell is that actually? And I don't think anything can really prepare you for it. I think the only thing is just that you know that you want to do it, and then you just do it. And there's not much else that's like really going to be like, and this is what it's like. And of course, the initiation, in fact, is secret. Like there's certain things inside the room, inside the process, inside the details of the ritual, which remain secret. And when you get initiated, you are doing it, so then you know. Um, but what would you have told yourself, like if you were going to do initiation again now for the first time and you didn't know anything, but you do know, like what would you have told yourself? Like, okay, and this is what you need to prepare yourself for, or this is like do's and don'ts. Or if, I guess another way of saying, like if someone's going to go into initiation now, like what would you say?
Um, well, well, looking back, what certainly helped for me is just having a really strong reason because it gets so intense and uncomfortable and weird and like it's if you didn't have the thing to hold on to understand like why are you here and like, what is this for, then that would make it much harder. That was the thing that I mean I already had this, so I wouldn't need to tell myself this differently, but that was the kind of most, yeah, I think the most important thing because you have that, and then that's what's carrying you through whatever difficult thing that comes. You're like, but I'm here for this. I'm here for results. I'm here to really sincerely try this thing that and give it my all, so that I have more of a chance of peace in myself. So I think for yeah, for anyone, I think that would be the key thing. Like why are you here? Like what are the intentions, and what are you really really bringing to this that you want to be met by this powerful, strange stuff.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the things I also remind people when they are in that moment of like, oh my God, this is so hard. And it's like, yeah, and remember why you came here. There's a reason why. And this is also, like before any ritual, it's setting the intention that guides where you're going. It's like the GPS coordinates. So you sticking with what it is you're here for, it keeps the map pointing in the right direction. Because like you're saying, like on the sacred word, it showed you that what you say and what you're thinking is actually producing the environment that then is feeding you. And it's the same thing with this, that your intention is like producing the direction and then that feeds you. So being really, really solid with why am I here? And then holding that, this is gonna, yeah, it's gonna guide you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You also told me that when you shared with your friends about the initiation, people were like, "Whoa, that sounds intense." How would you describe it, or like, yeah, if someone is thinking about initiation, or yeah, how it maybe compares to also other spiritual, because you've done a lot of spiritual work and like deep containers that are
Yeah.
like weeks on end, how and not comparing in a way of like better or worse or something, but just like, yeah, like how would you describe this in relation to those other experiences you've had?
Um, like, like much less opportunity for glamour.
I
like,
love that.
like, like
Yeah.
glamour in the sense of getting caught up in the image of it and seeing yourself as this sort of it's a big pitfall that you see it happening amongst spiritual, it's just like it becoming your identity, or you're just like, I am
Mm.
the enlightened one, or I am the mysterious wizard or whatever. There's none of that. Like it's just like grubby and uncomfortable and strange, and like I don't know, you couldn't. It's such a different culture and tradition as well. There isn't any, at least as like a white Western person. There's nothing, that like you could never fall into that being like your identity somehow. It's just very real and very like not user friendly at all. It's there's nothing it's not like some it's not bougie or anything. There's no like
No.
comfort. There's no like there's very little communication. It's all just like, they've been quite rough with you as well. They don't have this like, and we would like to invite you if it feels all right for you. They're just sort of like grabbing you and like, you do this now and this now. It's just like very, and there's no one to see you. You're the only one there. There's no performance opportunity really, or it's like you are in the kind of ritual theater performance of the ceremony, but there's I think there's less foothold for your ego to kind of, you know be silly about it. I'm sure it's possible, but compared to all these other things, that the bar of discomfort is so much higher that like it would turn away most people who, if that's what secretly kind of you're after.
Yeah, it's humbling. You're
Yeah, it's
like
very humbling.
taking like cut at the knees and you fall on your ass. It's like it's really because also like when I was saying about the room is like a womb and a tomb, it's like you have about as much prestige as a baby who's just been born or someone who's just about to die. Like that's about
Yeah.
as like cool as you can get. So we're at time here, but I wonder if there's anything else you wanted to share before we finish.
um so the most significant thing is like the stuff I saw and was made aware of in the ceremony, but really the most significant things that have happened has been in the 4 or 5 months since then.
Mm.
It's still going on now, my initiation, and it's actually been much harder back in the real world. Like, as hard as the ceremony was, since leaving then, it's something about what happened in there that really kind of dredged up and cracked open some really, really deep, compacted layers of intense, unfelt emotion in me. That some of it feels like it's going way back you know, it feels so big that perhaps I'm feeling stuff that my ancestors were never able to feel, or something like this. And that's what I've been going through and this is actually how I'm being rewarded. You know, that this is the most profound amount of progress in my healing that I've ever had. It's like the iboga and everything opened up emotional pathways in me that weren't open before. Like I didn't have access to these things. So all of my pain, all of this like frozen, traumatized fragments of myself that kept trying to be expressed and released. Like the only path that they had before was into my mind, where they just come up and get tangled and just go around in circles and go nowhere and can't get out, and just caused me a huge amount of pain that whole time. This is what I've been suffering this whole time. This is why I went there. And it was like how you described it being like the wire wool. I remember you saying once. It's like it's scrubbed down into like the most claggy, stubborn, congealed grease down in me that was just all like refusing to budge, and that kind of unblocks these pathways of emotion. So I've been having a lot of like sobbing and grief and yeah, all this shit's been happening. And as intense as it is, it's like it feels extremely healthy because it happens in the intense. You know, I get like all of this stuff ignited in me, all of these uh, completely irrational emotions like coming up and being metabolized and spent, and it's hard at the time, but on the other side of it, I've felt more and more space in myself open up, like. And I feel more and more like my actual self, more closer to the, you know, remember like the higher self of me, because that's like the real me. And my whole life I've had all these uh, contorted old like memories from previous times in my life, which aren't me, but they're taking up space, and I'm having to kind of like accommodate them and
Yeah,
adapt my personality and my behavior and everything around them.
they
And
distort
as
you.
is, yeah, but they're not me. And as these are kind of like igniting now, they take up the space with my actual self on the other side of it. And and uh, one part of all this, like a big part of what's also activated all the grief and emotion of everything, is actually my relationship ending, my like 10-year romantic relationship with my wife was ended. And I understand kind of part of why that's happened is I was asking the spirit, like part of the questions I was bringing to the ceremony were, um, how can I be like a proper self-sufficient man? You know, like how can I be free of the wounded child parts of me still running the show of my life? Like I want to initiate into fully structured self-governing, you know, manhood where I'm able to contain myself and feel my emotions myself and not be outsourcing them onto my partner or anyone else. So I didn't ask literally for this, but I guess in Bwiti language I did, because I was seeing that it's like my life's I've never had more chaos and kind of uncertainty and difficulty in my life right now. But I see it's, you know, I asked it, please help me remove the obstacles in myself that are preventing my highest growth. And it's like, okay, well, first of all, this codependent dynamic that you have, and it's like, and how you are like using that as a crutch and not fully taking responsibility for all of your stuff, like that's been kind of dissolved and taken away. And I've had this like intense crash course in how to feel all my stuff really intensely and how to be really like once and for all stepping into the strength and structure and resilience myself that I haven't had before. So I'm very grateful to it, but it's like almost kind of, I don't know, careful what you wish for. It's like if you're really committed to like the truth, it often comes at the sacrifice of false things that you actually are quite attached to, and on some level would rather, you know, they don't change. So this is, again, you hear this in many spiritual traditions, like the truth is quite brutal, but it's but the rewards are like worth it if you go through those fiery portals and stick with all the fear and uncertainty and devastation of it. So I'm not saying that's necessarily what happens to everyone. You know, you do the ceremony, you ask for more freedom yourself, and then like your relationships fall apart. But I mean, it's a package deal like that. But it did definitely respond with exactly what I was asking it for. So I can recommend it. You know, I can recommend the efficacy of it on that level.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard and it's ongoing, and yeah, it's still going. See where I am in a year's time.
I feel like it's a little bit like, you know, if you have a broken leg and then your bone has to be set back into place, it's painful. Like it could also
Mm,
be more comfortable just to leave it as it is and not have to like go through the pain of the reconstruction back into alignment.
mm,
And but both are painful, like the breaking of it, which can, you know, can be a whole lifetime or even like a lineage of getting broken. But then the reset is also, yeah, it's not always comfortable, but it's trusting and feeling the yeah, the alignment that comes. And do you feel like, can you feel, maybe you're still feeling like you're in it, but can you feel that there's more alignment coming, or like that maturity is
yeah,
arriving?
yeah, yeah, definitely. I've never felt more myself. It's like what's left in the wake of each kind of episode of grief and emotion, all this is like this kind of calmness and clarity and self-assuredness, and like like there can be times like big chunks of my anxious thought behavior will just suddenly be not there anymore, or like or
Awesome.
not there with the same like amount of intensity, just like yeah, like it's felt kind of like a forest fire, like it's like the fire has been igniting all of the underbrush and tangled detritus on the forest floor, and it's like painful and brutal and intense, but there's this big like exhale after that. All of that cluttered parts of myself and then kind of like return back to be like fertile soil again, and
Mm,
that's and I have this to grow into, and like this is actually what's nourishing me and contributing to who I'm becoming as a person as I move forward with this. So yeah, I've never felt more uncertain and challenged and kind of like devastated in my life before, but also never felt more alive and kind of sure of myself and and strong, and kind of like it's sort of like depth of wisdom and perspective too. Like I'm living through the hardness of this scary initiation myself, so it makes other things that are scary seem just like it's okay.
doable.
Yeah, yeah, they do, but like some of that like fear of the unknown is gone, and I think that's what the real meaning of initiation is doing something like confronting and uncomfortable and scary and uncertain, and staying with it even through all the moments when you'd rather not, and you wish you could go back to just kind of staying in the safe, compromised, you know, your leg's still broken zone, you know, like, but can I
Mm-hmm.
just go back to having a broken leg and just letting myself, you know, not walk properly the rest of my life? Is, you know, like going through all of that and being like alchemized by it, by like being some pottery in the kiln. You're being just like heated and chemically reconfigured, and it's like intense, but you are different on the other side, and the only way to be achieving that difference is the hard way. It's not, initiation is not something you ask for and you're given. You have to like give all of
Mm-hmm.
yourself to it, and 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 only then are you like rewarded. So so in that respect, yeah, it's definitely an initiation. We were talking earlier, what does it mean, initiation? By that definition, this is sort of like the ultimate one.
Yeah, it's true. It's give and receive. If you want to receive something, you also need to give something. And this is part of what you're giving. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true, like I think one of the things that makes living life really hard is that life is hard. And in that, it's like if I'm feeling fragile and life is hard, it's hard for me to really get anywhere. And the relationship's hard, and starting the business is hard, and the thing with my mom is hard, and the la is hard, and money is hard. So, and if I feel fragile, then it's really hard to make any progress. But what this does is or feeling feelings is hard, and then that really like puts me in a cage. But what initiation does is you do hard things and you do it. There's points where you want to give up. There's points where you're like, wait, no, this is too much. Or even to see things in the visions that it's like, whoa, this is intense. But then you do it, and it's not like you're gritting your teeth and your nervous system's necessarily like fried. It's like it's actually grows your capacity.
Mm.
So it's not that you're overwhelming your capacity. It's intense, but your capacity grows to handle the intensity. And then when you leave the initiation room, life is still intense, but now you have the capacity to deal with it. Whereas before, you felt fragile, not you specifically, right? I mean, people.
I did.
Right. Yeah, there's fragility there, and then now there's more capacity.
Yeah, like your bandwidth is increased.
Yeah, and this is a big key of maturity, because if you think of a boy and a man, or a girl and a woman, the man and the woman have capacity. The girl and the boy, they don't, because they're little kids. So this is like the growing up from child to adult, where we actually expand our capacity to really live life as men and women, kings and queens.
Yeah, because it doesn't happen automatically. It's not like you're a child and if you just stay alive for long enough, you become an adult. You know, it's like, or at least not in our society where there's no like active milestones or ceremonies or commemorations or like things that you actively do to be transitioning from one to the other. I think this is quite a common problem in the West. Or so those Gabonese men would tell me that this is quite a Western problem of people being sort of grown up children and like they're, you know, however old you've been in your 40s, 50s, 60s, but still like carrying around your child wounds and still kind of reacting to things like as, you know, like a 5-year-old. And it's like, yeah, you haven't like there's been no conscious initiation where all of these old obsolete childlike parts of you are like reckoned with and brought into kind of like integration and responsibility with the rest of yourself, so you emerge as the parent of your own vulnerable child parts. Like that doesn't just happen automatically. And there's obviously many different ways you could do this, but certainly this is what's, you know, a flavor of what's happening in the Bwiti initiation. You're being like challenged, and like, you know, all of your kind of bullshit really like called up, and you're like being just like demanded to step up to respond to it in a different way and be present for it in a way that you haven't been before, and that's how you earn your true adulthood. I wouldn't say I'm completely there yet, but I'm much more than I was 4 months ago.
Yeah,
Give me
and that's
time.
the
Give me
process,
time.
right? Growing up.
Yeah, I said give me time. It's like I'm on the path towards proper Gabonese standard adulthood.
The gold standard.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like whatever they reach when they're like 15 or whatever, those are like proper men. Those guys. They
Yeah,
really,
it's
they really
true.
put us to shame. They're like hard and like tough, and it's just
Yeah,
very quite inspiring,
yeah.
I think.
But with their hearts alive, it's not like they're like hard rocks and you could throw them against the wall and, it's like you can feel like the sweetness of the child inside of them, but it's not the child that's running their life. It's, they're
Yeah,
men, but they're alive.
Yeah, and like laughing a lot of the time too. Like, and their lives are so much harder, like in almost every material or stability or health factor respects than anyone in London is. But they are, much more alive, much more like humble, much more kind of capable of dealing with things as they are. They're yeah, it's such a inverse phenomenon. They have so much less, but so much like wiser and stronger and more, more engaged and in proper agency with their lives. We again, one of these kind of like things you get a bit conditioned with here growing up in the West is some idea that like we have more stuff, so just life can only just be worse in poorer countries. But it's not quite like that, because it's like as the comfort goes down and as the spiritual connection or acknowledgement of your ancestors or lineage, as all of these things go down in the West, also you're losing all this connection to all these kind of like vast resources and sense of perspective and ability to like govern yourself as like a proper sovereign adult. Like that's what they have much more of instead of comfort and shiny technology. And like it's very there's a lot of crap that we're told that that you can easily believe is the whole truth if you just live your whole life only in the Western bubble. So that it's just, along with all this other stuff, is really kind of eye-opening to see it's not true. There's a lot more going on than we're like conditioned to believe.
Yeah. And that the sound of the Nima laughing and seeing how much he laughs, that's also one of the medicines. It's not just the iboga. It's like the initiation has so many different tools and pieces in it that do something, that like click something inside of you. And sometimes it's like this kind of thing, like just observing these men, observing these women, and then getting a transmission, like you're breathing in the fragrance of their spirit in a way. And like modeling. So there's so many, there's just so rich. Like everywhere you look, there's like something that's feeding your soul, cleaning your soul, and sometimes it's even just in the laughter of the Nima.
Yeah, the bonus laughter.
Yeah, we'll throw in some laughter for free. So thank you so much. It was such a good talk. And if anyone who's watching this is interested in an initiation, there are dates for 2026. So please reach out and I'll let you know what the dates are. And then we can talk about, more about initiation and the details of coming. Also, if you have any questions. But so be in touch with me. And Ray, thank you so much. Also, if anyone who's watching has more questions, you can just comment and Ray and I can answer. And thank you.
Thank you.